In the last video, we explored memory in infancy. We discussed how much like adult memory, infant memory possesses certain key features that shape how to process and retain information. While infants may not have the same level of recall or long term retention as adults, research shows that they do form memories and recognize familiar experiences in ways that parallel adult cognitive processes. In this video, we'll explore memory in the toddler years, diving into the cognitive foundations of memory and how memory processes evolve as toddlers grow. So, let's get started. First, let's define what we mean by infancy and toddlerhood. Infancy typically spans from around birth to 12 months. This period is marked by rapid physical and neurological development. Infants possess both implicit and explicit memory systems, but they are still in their early fragile stages. Here is a quick look at some key findings of memory in infancy. Newborns can recognize their mother's voice shortly after birth, and by 2 to 3 months, they are able to recognize familiar faces. Retention improves with age, growing from a mere 1 to 2 days at 2 months to weeks by 6 months. Memory decay quickly without reinforcement due to still developing neural pathways. Infants utilize exposure to context and repetition as memory strategies in the early years. By late infancy, they start focusing on novel stimuli to strengthen their memories. Moving on to the toddler years, which spans from 12 months to 36 months, this period marks this transition from infancy to early childhood and is full of exciting changes. Toddlers gain the ability to move independently. Let's think about crawling and walking. This new ability lets them explore their environment, move freely, which enriches their memory experiences. Language acquisition also takes off, allowing toddlers to label their experiences and enhance their ability to remember things. At this stage, toddlers begin to label objects like red ball, which creates a verbal anchor for future recall. As toddlers develop, they also begin retrieving memories in more flexible ways. Unlike infants who tie their memories to specific contexts, toddlers can recall memories across varying situations. As toddlers grow, memory processes such as encoding, storage, and retrieval become more complex. Let's break down these key aspects of toddler memory development. In toddlerhood, encoding becomes much more efficient. The toddler's attentional capacities improve, allowing them to integrate sensory experiences more effectively. Experiences paired with verbal labels or multisensory stimuli are more vividly encoded. Maturation in the brain's neural pathways, especially in areas like the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, help toddlers to consolidate longer lasting memory traces. At first, toddlers may only retrieve memories when the context closely matches the encoding environment. But as they grow, they become more capable of retrieving memories flexibly. This is aided by verbal reminders and repeated exposure. Now, why do we have to study development of memory in toddlerhood? Toddlerhood is a critical period for developing foundational cognitive skills, things like planning, problem solving, and forming autobiographical memories. Let's take a look at some key tasks used in studying memory in toddlers. The first task is the deferred imitation. This is a great way to study memory without relying on verbal reports from toddlers. A toddler watches an adult demonstrate a new action, and after a delay, they are tested to see if they can replicate that action. Interestingly, toddlers can replicate actions even after a substantial delay, sometimes lasting weeks or even months. This task tends to capture the toddler's ability to store and retrieve information in the absence of direct environmental cues, a milestone in cognitive development. The second task is the elicited imitation. It's a refined version of the deferred imitation task. Here, verbal cues are provided during the demonstration, helping the toddlers remember and generalize actions. Studies show that toddlers who receive verbal cues retain information longer and apply it across different contexts. Elicited imitation bridges the gap between nonverbal and verbal memory. illustrating how toddlers begin integrating linguistic cues into their memory systems. The third task is the delayed response task. The delayed response tasks are designed to assess a toddler's ability to remember and retrieve objects after varying intervals of time. In this task, an object is hidden from view, and the child is required to retrieve it after a delay. This task evaluates the child's working memory, which is essential for holding and manipulating information temporarily. The ability to recall hidden objects indicates how well the child can retain and process information over a short period. As toddlers grow, their capacity for working memory improves. Younger children may struggle with longer delays, while older adults can remember the location of hidden objects even after extended intervals. This progression reflects the maturation of short term memory capabilities. The fourth task utilized by researchers in the study of memory in toddler years is the event memory test. This test involves exposing toddlers to a distinct event, such as a puppet show, and later assessing their recall of specific details about the events after a delay. The tests are significant for understanding the development of memory in toddler years. They provide insights into the emergence of what can be described as episodic like memory, where children can recall specific events and details associated with them. However, it is important to note that true episodic memory is characterized by the conscious recollection of personal experiences. This is limited at the stage of toddler years. By measuring how well toddlers can remember and describe details from the events after a certain period of time, researchers can gauge the early stages of memory development and the ability to form lasting memories of personal experiences. This reflects cognitive changes occurring in toddlers as they learn to process and retrieve information about the world. As toddlers grow, we can see significant changes in how they retain and retrieve memories. For younger toddlers like 18-month-olds, memory retention lasts a couple of weeks, but for older toddlers around 24 months, memory retention extends to 90 days or more. This is because younger toddlers and infants are reliant on specific cues available during the encoding phase. This could be the object, setting, or a variety of people around when the information or event occurred. On the other hand, toddlers demonstrate greater resilience to forgetting, which is attributed to improved neural connectivity and emerging executive function. Younger toddlers often rely on the exact cues present during encoding to retrieve memories. However, by 24 months, they begin to retrieve memories more flexibly, even in different contexts. For example, they might recall actions demonstrated with toys, even if the setting is changed. A study by Hain and Simcock revealed that 18 months old struggled to recall actions demonstrated with toys unless the retrieval context matched the original learning context. Let's now talk about how independent locomotion, like crawling and walking, affects memories. Studies have shown that mobile toddlers perform better in tasks that require memory retrieval across new environments. Crawling and walking promote an integrated understanding of spatial relationships, which strengthen memory recall. For instance, researchers have found that toddlers who are mobile are more likely to approach new tasks with exploratory strategies, enhancing memory flexibility. The increased exploration because of motor development strengthens neural pathways related to spatial and episodic memory, particularly in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. These brain regions are responsible for encoding complex environments and linking them to past experiences. Language is another game changer in toddler memory development. Even before toddlers start speaking fluently, language comprehension enhances the ability to encode, store, and retrieve memories. When adults narrate actions, toddlers tend to remember better. For example, when the adult says, "Look, I'm stacking the red blocks," toddlers are more likely to remember the event than if the demonstration was nonverbal. In fact, language serves as a bridge to help toddlers retrieve memories in future. The use of verbal labels provides retrieval cues that help toddlers access stored memories even after some time has passed. Language also plays a big role in real world learning. Picture books and media, for instance, are great tools for enhancing memory in toddlers. Research has shown that toddlers remember more realistic images, like photographs, compared to abstract drawings. This can influence how well they generalize concepts from books to real life situations. Older toddlers, especially those from around 24 months, are more likely to apply what they learn from books to new real life scenarios. Toddlers' ability to generalize information from two-dimensional images, which is train of books, to three-dimensional images, real-world objects, develops over time. Younger toddlers from 18 months often find it challenging to transfer knowledge from 2D representations to 3D scenarios. For example, if shown a task in a video, they may fail to replicate it with a physical object. With increased exposure to 2D and 3D interactions, as well as verbal reinforcements, older toddlers show enhanced ability to bridge the gap between the two formats. Training and repeated exposure significantly improves this skill. Memory development in toddlers is a complex and exciting process, way more advanced than what we see in infancy. From the basis of encoding and retrieving memories to the role of locomotion and language in memory flexibility, there is a lot happening in those early years. See you in the next one.